comrades. In the news tonight comes the first reports from the conflict that has broken out in Europe. Our forces and comrades in East Germany, Poland, and Czechoslovakia have responded to NATO aggression. It appears our early efforts have been successful. General Secretary Brezhnev delivered this message in last night's televised address.
А наш долг постараться, чтобы дети всех народов не знали войн, чтобы у них было спокойное, радостное детство.
Despite the best attempts of Foreign Minister Gromyko, who traveled to West Germany this week to achieve a negotiated de-escalation, NATO ministers remained undeterred from their goal of actively seeking territory and the end of global socialism. NATO's hardline stance is driven by the US President Carter, who is increasingly subservient to advisors in both the American military and the capitalist industries that profit from war. Similarly, the West German Chancellor Helmut Schmidt has openly called for reunification of Germany in meetings with his military leaders. Along the intra-German border, the capitalist NATO countries had united for a first strike against our socialist comrades in East Germany. In the past month, there have been unmistakable preparations by NATO. A combination of West German, American, and British forces have deployed to the border in a massive buildup in what they describe as an exercise. Thankfully, our ever-watchful intelligence agencies assess these troop buildups and simultaneous deployments of the American Navy and confirm that a NATO attack into the German Democratic Republic was imminent. Lastly, new deployments of Pershing nuclear missiles supported NATO's first strike capability and constitute a threat that could no longer be ignored. Speaking to the Central Committee yesterday, General Secretary Brezhnev said,
Чтобы книга «Малая земля», «Возрождение», «Целина» воспринимались как мемуарное сочинение. Работая над своими записками, думал я не о себе, и даже, пожалуй, не столько о прошлом.
Fortunately, our armed forces are ready and able to quickly take on this mission. The first Deputy Minister of Defense for General Affairs reports that, quote, our glorious Soviet and Allied forces have therefore crossed the intra-German border to actively defend us and eliminate the threat. With our overwhelming firepower, well-rehearsed plans, and well-trained, dedicated soldiers, our forces have swept aside initial resistance and are proceeding toward the Rhine. Precision airstrikes by frontal aviation units have destroyed NATO weapons sites, while other attacks targeted airfields. Other fighter aircraft sweep the skies and bravely support our ground forces. Not to be left out, our anti-aircraft defenses have shot down the few enemy aircraft that managed to reach the battlefield. In a most dangerous role, our airborne assault forces have bravely flown behind enemy lines to capture critical objectives. The Ministry of Defense did confirm the success of amphibious operations in the Baltic Sea. Already, the Ministry reports the success of the first major river crossing. This is a dangerous operation. Once the far side of the river is secure, the engineers can begin to do their work to build a bridge for the heavier tanks to keep the advance going. We share with you from the front lines this report from the 8th Guards Army, which is advancing into West Germany. The generals have identified the next objective and have ordered an attack. The troops deploy from their line of march. In the lead is the Combat Reconnaissance Patrol. Their job is to identify the composition and the deployment of any enemy forces. This is tense, dangerous work, and these troops are among our bravest. Sadly, the CRP does take losses, but they've accomplished their job and identified the enemy position. Beginning with spotting rounds, artillery is called in on the suspected and known enemy positions. The bombardment is massive. No resources are spared in an effort to pave the way for further ground forces. This takes the form of the forward security element. Their job is to pin down the defending forces and, if possible, open lanes for a breakthrough by follow-on troops. This is true bravery, of which we should all be proud. Success, an opening for the follow-on main attack, has been achieved. Now that the enemy force has been identified, a plan is quickly pulled together and distributed to the troops by the officers. After mounting up, the attack begins. They always keep moving forward. Moving is life, and moving forward is victory. Multiple battalions of the main force are now in the attack, pressing on to the primary objective. Artillery precedes the infantry attack on the next ridgeline. Our superior tanks are then able to make their breakthrough. After the breakthrough, our tanks encounter the main NATO tank force. There's a short, sharp tank engagement. But like our tankers from the Great Patriotic War, our forces have persevered and scored a major victory. But it is not without cost, as acknowledged by the General Secretary last night.
Здравствуйте, дорогие юные друзья. Поздравляю всех вас с Новым годом. Организация Объединенных Наций, которая объединяет почти все государства Земли.
And so, as we sign off tonight's broadcast, cheer for our dedicated and brave soldiers while focusing on your daily work to support them and keep the party and the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics strong. Good night.